All right, welcome everyone to MxPodtrax. This is a special episode today because not only is it our first episode, we're going to be doing a little Supercross preview. We know that the season is right around the corner. Super amped up for it. There's a lot of cool changes going on in the Supercross world, and I am very, very excited. But I have a special guest here with me today. We got John Love Train Love in the house, a former motocrosser, just like myself. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for the podcast, something different. Haven't been following Supercross lately, but I'm excited to get back into it and seeing what's going on with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. I was following it, pretty closely, but there were times where I just didn't want to watch because it made me sad. Because I'm like,
Right. Oh, yeah, I get that.
I want to ride again, and that's kind of why I got the itch. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna look at bikes. And it was interesting because my wife, she was like, why don't you just get one now? And like, I'm like, you probably shouldn't have said that,
Right.
because like right away, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go out and, and I snag myself a KX 450F. So that should be fun. It's a little bit faster than the 250 that I
Yeah.
used to ride. So yeah. How about you? You thinking about maybe hopping back in the saddle?
I don't know. That's like you said, I'm the same way when I watch it on TV or even going to watch events and that. I'm like, you get that itch, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, I'd like to do that like one more time. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
It's an addiction, man. It is.
for sure.
It is. It's good though. It's gosh, I mean, even just putting on my gear and riding around for a little bit, I remembered very quickly how much endurance it takes. It's like like I could go work out in the gym, no problem, hour, an hour and a half, but on a bike for like 10 minutes, I'm dead.
Right. That's what I was curious to see how you do with this. I know you work out all the time and all that, but I was like, riding a bike's a different
Phew.
thing completely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not even close. I know I forgot where I read this, but I know that it is the most intense athletic endeavor out there. I guess like on average, typically the riders' heartbeats are usually around 190 beats per minute for or higher for 30
Right.
minutes plus. I mean, that is
Right.
just like you got to be conditioned for that. And, so anyone out there that's listening that's like, oh, all you have to do is do this, dude, hop on a
Right.
bike, give it a shot. You're going to sing a different tune. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
definitely. But hey, why don't we go ahead and get into the topic today? We got Supercross season kicking off. I believe it's next weekend, right? Is it next
Yep.
weekend? Wow, it's
Yep.
really fast approaching, and there's a lot of different changes going on. Some exciting ones, some where I'm like, what the hell is going on? But I think the biggest topic up front is Eli Tomac making that switch to Star Yamaha. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how he does. A lot of guys usually seems like their first year when they jump to Yamaha doesn't tend to go well.
Yeah.
Besides McGrath, he did it, but
Mm,
I remember like Stewart and some of the guys, some reason they don't look right on a Yamaha when
yeah.
they've been on something else for years. But I'm very curious to see how he does. I don't know if it's going to be his year or not, but he's, let's say I was doing some research. Let's say he won one title, let's say 2020, which
Mm.
is a weird year just for, it's like, you know, tree falls in the woods if no one's there. Did it happen? You know,
Right. Yeah.
his
Yeah.
last 2 years have felt like that. I think that's kind of part of where I've kind of drifted away. It's just weird, no one in the stands and no one,
Yeah.
it's sad. It screws up things, the atmosphere and the feel of it.
It does, especially since I think 2020 was the season where they would have like literally some weeks they'd have like three or four races.
Right. They would just
It's
stay at
weird.
one stadium and change the track up a little bit. And yeah, I think they only traveled to like four places the whole year. And
Yeah,
but just overall, I think that season was even cut short, maybe.
I believe it
I think they
was.
might only did like 10 or 11 rounds of it. So, I mean, he got his title and that, but it's
Right.
like, should be, there's like a asterisk in the way a little
Yeah,
bit.
I agree because he
So,
was he was so dominant, for a
right.
while. And now I don't know if it's just me, but when I watch him ride, it doesn't look like he has the same sort of aggression. He doesn't have the same sort of drive that he did. I don't know if something's going on, and maybe that's why he made the change to Yamaha, but I mean, like you said, Stewart went from Team Green to a Yamaha and didn't look so hot at the beginning there.
Right,
You know, he had a lot of issues, which he actually spoke publicly about, saying that his bike was set up pretty poorly and they weren't
right.
really listening to him or whatever. And that's kind of why he made that switch onto Suzuki,
Well,
which,
say he was on say Kawasaki's when he was little. I mean that
yeah,
team they knew his setup. And then to jump to different company, different. Just and there's differences in the bikes if you ride different. They just have different feels to them.
yeah. Oh, they
So
definitely do. Then you got different mechanics. You got a whole different, like team manager and everything. It's just
right,
the whole atmosphere changes. But speaking of the Stewarts, Malcolm Stewart finally,
yes,
finally locking in a ride there with Husqvarna. I think it's much deserved. He's one of my favorite riders.
right,
I think he's one of those dark horses where if things are clicking, he could see. I think he could actually contend for a title if he
yeah,
keeps it on two wheels.
right. As I say, they got him for 2 years.
Mm,
They signed him for. So yeah, I'm curious to see how he does with having more of a steady ride. It's got to be tough with that 1 year deal, bounce,
yeah,
Suzuki to Honda to a Yamaha to, constantly trying to figure out setups. It probably takes, I mean, I know they practice in the off season, but it probably takes a few races just getting the feel of your team and everything. And, if you start off wrong, by the time you
mm,
start getting the feel of it, you might be over already for you.
right. And that honestly speaks volumes for his amount of talent. The fact that he can kind of just hop on any bike and go out there,
Right,
and he's almost always a front runner. At least in that top five, you see him dominating. But then there'll always be something. He'll do a Stewart thing, and then
right,
he'll be off the track or whatever it may be. But it just, I mean, he pushes very hard, and I think there's going to be a lot less pressure on him this year. Like you said, he has that 2 year deal instead of being like, I have to prove myself this year. I think that'll really kind of give him a little bit of breathing room. And if he could be consistent, heck, we might see
right.
another Stewart win a title, which would be cool.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'd like to see him do well. I say he kind of, my in honesty is I haven't given him as much of a chance as I should have, just because towards the end I wasn't a big fan of his brother.
Same. Yeah.
So I was like, it's just another same act. But
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
No, I
So
agree. I think he has more heart for it than James does now, at least.
right,
Because James used to be like a fighter, and then, like you said, something in his demeanor and his attitude changed. He even said when he was on JGR, he said that one night he said, "I'm done," and they were like, "Yeah, sure you are." And he said he decided that night that he retired. So I mean, at least he's willing to admit now that like he's like, yeah, that's why I wasn't really as dominant. I kind of checked out.
right,
So I mean, it's understandable, but still, I kind of lost a little bit of my love for him because when I was watching him on minis and stuff back in the day, I was like,
right.
I want to ride like that, instead of looking like David Vuillemin out there.
Well,
So,
I remember noticing the kind of losing the drive in that when he had. Do you remember when he had kind of like that reality show
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
that they would show like in the house that he had his masseuse in the house that he had all like once you success and that you know correlate that to any kind of sport, you start getting the money and everything. You find out who has the drive and then who, where do they feel like they succeeded, or they feel like, okay, I reached to the top, now I can, it's like they just lose that hunger to keep, to want to be the best anymore,
Right. Yeah, you really you're to the point where you're like, I really don't have anything left to prove, so I don't even
right.
care, you know.
I associate it with the, I'm gonna change the sport a little bit, but with football, you see that with guys all the time. Eddie Jackson, of course,
Oh,
gets paid and disappears.
gosh,
It happens to some guys,
I don't even know who that guy is anymore. When you
right?
see him out there, it's like Adam Archuleta all over again.
Yep.
Was that his name? Yeah. Oh
Or Chris
God.
Conti,
Oh
whichever.
my God. Horrible, horrible. But hey, Malcolm basically kind of swapped spots. Well, I would say actually he didn't. For some reason, I thought Anderson swapped with him, but Anderson's going to Kawasaki, which
Right.
I don't know if I'm excited about it. I am kind of, but it depends on which Jason Anderson's going to actually ride this year, because he had that 1 year where it was just like he was almost a league above everyone else.
Oh yeah.
And then last year, I don't know what the hell was going on. He just did not ride very well.
Yeah, I remember when I saw that, as I say, because last year I know was a rough year, and then to gets a deal with Kawasaki, and yeah, I'm very curious to see how he does. He's definitely got some something to prove, you would think.
Yeah,
As he's filling in, Big Shoot taking over Tomac's spot, or who, and being the kind of the face of that team now. It's probably a lot of pressure. Guess we'll see if he's ready for it.
I agree. Yeah, because that's a step up from where he was. Husqvarna is a great team. I think they make a great motorcycle, but that Kawasaki team is always kind of like that's where everyone's eyes kind of go to.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, and like you said with Tomac going over to Yamaha, now you got Anderson has some really big shoes to fill. So hopefully he's able to do it.
right. Yeah, definitely. I always look Kawasaki nowadays as kind of that, like you said, that's the team. In the '90s it was Honda. You
Yeah,
know, 2000 after that it kind of bounced around different teams, but then once the monster Kawasaki team, that kind of was the seems like that's the top spot. If you could get there, and I'd be curious because I'm not sure Anderson was deserving of it, but we'll
I
see.
agree.
Yeah,
I mean, they must have seen something, because that's a lot of money, going his way. So hopefully he has a good season, but there's so much talent in this field. It's well, speaking of what I would say used to have talent, and if he's not going to listen to this, but if he does, sorry, Dean Wilson, how the hell do you
right.
have a ride?
I was just about to mention that. I was like, he got a factory ride. I was like,
How?
there's a lot of guys that would be much better off in that
Yeah,
position than him.
it I really don't know what to say about the kid. I mean, I got to give him credit where credit's due. I guess he was battling Epstein-Barr last year. That's a pretty nasty virus. I didn't know that until, about a week ago. I found that out. So, I mean, okay, I'll give it to him. But what about all the other races where,
Right,
you're running in like third, and then all of a sudden the next, like midway through the moto, you're in 12th.
right.
Like you just fall off. So
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Muscan does that too.
he does at
I know.
times.
Yeah, notice him kind of some races he'll be up, and there's times where I'm like, wow, he's just falling. It seems like if a couple of guys pass him, he just kind of concedes. You
I know.
know,
Yeah, I
and
know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting though, because how many chances is this kid going to get? Chad Reed gave him a chance. He didn't do anything with it. After he left Kawasaki, what did he come up to? When he went up to big bikes, was he on a Kawasaki originally? I can't even remember.
yeah, I don't remember.
I
I
mean,
was gonna,
that's how forgettable it was.
yeah, I was say I don't even know how many years he's been at it, but it seems like I get it takes some time to grow up, but then it comes to a point where it's like, I think you hit your peak.
Yeah,
You are what you are if you're a solid, I think I was looking doing some homework on him, and he's a solid. Seemed like every year it was, he's top 10. He
yeah,
finishes, but constantly, finishing eighth in points or sixth in points. Like, okay, you know, I can't do it, but
right, right,
it's
right.
like,
I mean, yeah, we're
but
we're we're sitting here critiquing him, and it's like if I even went out there, I wouldn't even be able to like
right.
complete a lap. I would freaking
I mean, I
endo
guess
over the
he's,
first jump.
consistency, I guess, but is it consistently just not mediocre, but you're just consistently not, you're the second tier, I guess.
Yeah, he's kind of like
You
the
know,
the the Orton, the Kyle Orton of
yeah,
Supercross.
but
Maybe he'll get him to a Super Bowl. Maybe he won't, and then he'll blow it.
right. Is he like a guy that you never count out? He might get a win a season, or like, oh, win some heat races, and
Right. And then
certain
start
nights,
crying like Michael Essie.
certain nights you'll see, and like, oh man, he looks fast out there tonight, and then you get to the main and it's like, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty much Dean Wilson to a T. It wasn't that way though when he was on 250s. When he was
right,
on the lights, he would dominate and he was aggressive, he was fast, he had style, and now it's just like he looks like you said, like mediocre. Like, yeah,
right.
he's fast. I wouldn't be able to do it, but I don't know. But one rider that my sister-in-law absolutely hates that I actually like is Webb. What do you think is going to go on with Webb this year?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his.
No,
No.
a lot of
um,
people don't like him. I don't know. I don't get it.
yeah, I don't. I say he's got the bullseye on him this year, so
It's true.
be very curious to see what he could do. I mean, obviously talented, um, but yeah, I don't know. I can't even really explain it. I just don't. He's just not one of the guys I don't really follow much. As didn't don't care for him. I don't know. I don't know why. I was
One,
kind of like I just always have a guy like or two that I'm just like I
yeah.
never understood Ryan Dungey love. I
Oh yeah,
never cared
yeah.
for
I wasn't a big Dungy fan either. I
like
really wasn't.
he was always consistent, you know. I always get aggravated because he'd win sometimes, but it was always like Tomac or Roczen. They seemed like they were always winning, but then they were always DNFing.
Yeah,
Where Dungy was like, "Oh, I got third again, I got third again," and then he ends up winning the title. I'm
yeah.
like,
0 wins in the season. He won the title.
yeah,
You
I'm
know.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You know,
I-
one of the things about Webb that to me, I like. He's one of those riders where he doesn't look like he's going fast, but he's going fast.
right,
Like it's one of these really weird riding styles where it's like it doesn't look like he ever is charging, but he's hauling ass.
right,
And part of me, that's kind of why I respect him. I think I like when people are very, very animated on the bike, like Jason Anderson. I like when they're all over the place, like James Stewart, but he's very efficient. And that is
right,
something to kind of respect because he should theoretically be able to go longer than the other guys,
right, for sure,
he doesn't look fast, but he is.
right, yeah, yeah. There's definitely something to be said for that because say a lot of guys were, you know, dating myself, but McGrath there and that he was just smooth.
Very.
Was it? He didn't look like he wasn't pulling up the. He wasn't look like he was struggling. He was just like it was easy for him.
Yeah.
And way faster than everyone else most of the time.
Yep.
Looking that smooth is you know something to be said for that for sure.
Yeah, that was really kind of McGrath's MO was just how buttery smooth he was everywhere on the track. Like you said, it just looked like everything flowed. And then you had like Volomin, who was all over the bike,
Right,
and like very animated. And yeah, it makes sense because when people make it look easy, typically they have more talent. Not
right.
always, but typically, like guitarists are kind of the same way, musicians, but which is interesting. Now, I honestly, I have a pretty bold prediction, and you might agree with this because I know you're a big fan. I think Barsha might actually have his best season yet on that gas, and I could see him actually winning a title.
Oh wow. Yeah, I
I think he
definitely.
can.
I've always been a Barsha fan. I don't know much about gas bikes. I don't know
But
were they around the last couple of years? Is this
yeah,
new?
I think this is the third season
They're
that they're
okay.
really
That's
kind of
right.
entering, but their bikes are pretty damn solid. I mean, I've never ridden one, but
Right.
based on all the research that I've done and seeing like rider reviews, they're really solid bikes. Like if there were more dealers around, because my plan is maybe in the next year and a half to buy a brand new one and probably sell the other one. I told Chelsea I'll let her have it, and she's like, "No, I don't want to ride a
Right.
450." Uh, so I don't know if there were more dealers around, I would certainly consider it because they're pretty good bikes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they yeah, say Barsha, that's is that kind of like your dark horse pick or your
Yeah, yeah,
okay. See, I look at Barsha more as a outdoor guy.
I agree. Yeah,
To say he definitely tends to do way better outdoors. There's some guys are just better at that, the elements and the super rough tracks and but yeah, Barsha will put seems like he'll put a few races together, Supercross, and he's another guy that say if he keep it on two wheels and consistent for sure. Yeah, he's yeah, I would put Barsha there as kind of a dark horse. I got Sexton's my
You know,
pick for.
I totally forgot about even including anything about Sexton today, because that's actually a really good pick. That kid is fast,
Right,
very fast, and he's not afraid to rub plastics. He's similar. Well, he's not. No one's really on the level of Barsha, but he does get a little bit. Uh, he'll get in there and dive a wheel in on you if he sees an opening, and he's young, so I think it would
right,
be great if he was able to string, like 2, 3, 4 wins this season along, and at least finish in that top 3 in points. That would be awesome.
right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no one bangs bars in that quite like Barsha.
No, no, it's funny because on YouTube, like you'll see some of these like getting dirty, like motocross clips, and like over half the clips are Barsha. Every
Right.
time it's like Barsha, and then like people trying to fight Barsha off the
Yeah.
track. Oh my god! And Barsha will just flip them the bird and like right
Right.
away.
Yeah, there's something about that. I like that guy.
Yeah, I believe he's in New Jersey. Like he's East Coast, so they're pretty. They'll scrap.
Right.
They don't care. They don't take crap. So I don't know. I like his personality. I think you know I don't know. He might have a shot, but then again, like you said, Sexton is definitely a good rider. Um, but I don't know if you saw that Plessinger. He joined KTM. He went from Yamaha.
Yeah, I know a little bit about him.
He so I was watching practice video from a couple weeks ago with the KTM team. He didn't look very quick.
Okay.
I don't know if he's getting used to the bike or what. He looked really good on that Yamaha, but on the KTM, to me, maybe it was just the clips that they had. I'm like, he looks like he's just dogging it out there. He's freaking not attacking anything. I don't know. I
Hmm.
really don't know.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. He I'm reading my notes here. I was actually looking at his stats through the years as far as like placing. He's trajectory is going downhill, unfortunately,
Yeah,
compared to like
slowly.
17 and 18, and then like 19. Like it's gradually been worse every year. I'm not sure if some of it's injury or exactly what all he has going on, but let's say maybe it'll be a bounce back year. But I say it doesn't.
I don't think
Just
it will be.
yeah, I
I really
don't
don't.
see it either.
And I think part of that is due to the field is getting like there's more talent now. Like it's not like we have one of those or two of those dominant guys anymore. It's not like a Villapoto out there, winning every single race. It's very, very close between first and like 10th.
Right.
It's really, really a packed field. So that might have something to do with it. But yeah, you're right. He's been kind of backsliding over the years. So
Yeah, and I didn't realize that. I say I followed him. I tend to always lean towards the Yamaha guys and kind of been following them, but like I said, the last couple of years with everything going on, I kind of lost touch with it a little bit and didn't realize he had been struggling as much these last couple of years.
yeah, but
So,
we shall see. Maybe he'll surprise us all. And
right.
I mean, that's again, he's stepping up to the plate there with another big team to ride on, because I think he's got what, Muscan on his team and Roczen. Is it Roczen? Is Roczen still on Honda? Roczen's
Yeah,
on Honda.
Roczen's still on Honda.
That's right. So I know they added a rider to KTM. Oh, it's Webb, isn't it?
Yeah.
Webb. Okay. Yeah. So I mean those are two heavy hitters right there with him. So he's gonna have to do something. But one of my other kind of dark horses, I guess I could have two, is Dylan Ferrandis.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
like
him.
I do too. I don't think many people expect much out of him, and I don't know why. I see so much talent, so much speed, consistency. He rarely makes mistakes. He
Right.
does, but they're usually not big, costly mistakes. So, I mean, I'd be curious to see this season what he can do with all the changes and him having a couple of years on that bike. So
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what he can do too. Let's say he won the outdoor last year, won the outdoor title, and I always notice it seems like your European or whatever you want guys, they tend to be better outdoors. I don't know if it's just with the MXGP stuff, all
yeah,
the Europeans, it seems like they tend to be better at outdoors. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how he does this year. He's one of the guys I'm definitely watching.
yeah,
Could be a dark horse pick for
yeah,
sure.
he's got some talent, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Those French riders, most European riders are really kind of more built for the outdoor stuff because that's basically what they have over there.
Right.
And their tracks are pretty rough. You know, they're used to riding on very rough, rutted, hilly tracks, and I think that somehow translates pretty well to Supercross. I don't know how it does. Like I can't wrap my head around it, but they seem to do pretty well when they come over here. So
For
I
sure.
think I think he's going to do pretty well. But one of my favorite riders that was coming up through the field that just hasn't wowed me yet is Adam Cianciarulo.
Okay.
And I think part of it is he pisses me off because he'll be doing well and then he crashes. And then he'll be doing well and then he crashes. And I'm like, dude, and it's not like he's crashing because he's pushing the envelope. It's just something really stupid. Like up, Cianciarulo tucked the front in like a really
Right.
simple corner. I'm like, what happened?
Yep.
It's like he's doing it to himself, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on him as a rider?
Yeah, he's let's say definitely there's no consistencies. Hopefully he finds it, but I don't know. I just have a feeling he's just gonna be one of them guys that just doesn't put it together. I don't know. I don't know
I
why I
I
feel
think so
that
too.
way.
Yep,
I like all the hype that was around him.
so much.
I'm gonna throw a name out there. I put him as another Justin Booklew.
Oh my gosh, yes, I totally forgot about Buckaloo. I
The hype
remember.
train around him, and then it was
Yep,
just inconsistency and just show flashes, and then just couldn't put it together. You
yeah, I
know,
remember seeing Buckaloo at a Loretta Lynn's qualifier in real life and just watching how that kid rode, and I was like, wow, like he is going to be something. He didn't go anywhere. Like what happened?
well, I say he was. I mean, he was being hyped even back to, like you said, Loretta's, and I remember the magazines. He was kind of the first rider I remember that you would get like you go to the dealership and they had like your Yamaha pamphlet and it had your, you know, 125, you had Kevin Windham on it. And then you had Doug Henry, John Dowd, and guys like showing the two Damon Bradshaw. And then they would show the YZ80 and it was Bucklew. Like
Yep.
they were putting him in with, the factory guys at that time. Like
Yeah,
he was set to like pass on the, take the throne for Yamaha, and then it never happened.
I remember
Uh,
exactly what year you're talking about. That was the '97 Yamaha
yeah,
catalog because I remember it's when the YZ was that dark blue with the white rear fender and the white
yep.
side panels. I loved that bike. I'm like, I need one. And then the next year I got a 98 and it was a piece of shit. Like I freaking hated the power band on the YZ80. And that's why I switched over to Kawasaki. Because I rode one of my buddies' KX80s and I'm like, huh, so there's actually low end power on this thing.
Right.
Where like the
That's
YZ is like,
crazy.
brrr.
You say that I had a 98 YZ250 and it was a piece of shit.
Was it
Because my
really?
only Yamaha I ever had issues with. So I had my 96 125, which I loved that bike. And then I had a 95 CR250 for a little bit. And then I got a 98. I went to Riches in Lockport
Oh,
for it.
right by Charlie's house.
Yes. And when I went there, it was either I could either wait a couple months to get the YZ400F, or they had a YZ250 on the showroom, and I was like, I'm impatient. I'll take the 250,
Yeah, yeah. I would have done
and
the
just
same.
yeah, and yeah, I was actually having like detonation problems. Like the bike would just take off and run on its own.
No,
Like
a ghost bike.
you would start it, I'd be riding it, and then the throttle would just go wide open,
Perfect.
and the engine would just it just takes off on you. Like you could pull the spark plug wire off, it won't shut it down.
Jesus,
It
you had
just
a
it gets
lemon,
that
man.
yeah, it gets that hot and just starts detonating, running on its own heat. Basically, it turns into like a diesel engine. But yeah, I had a
Fun.
couple of times out of my grandparents. I'd be riding it. We had a little track, and all of a sudden, I'd be making a corner, and all of a sudden the bike would just go full throttle, and I would just bail off of it, and it'd go like off into the trees, and my dad would be so pissed. He's like, what do you do? It just lock, technically all I should have had to do is just jam the rear brake and gear and stall the engine, but I'd
Yeah.
panic,
Oh, I would
like, oh my
panic
God,
too.
and then just like let it go.
Dump the clutch and just let it go.
But yeah, let's say
Do you ever
I
figure
ended
out
up,
what was wrong with it? Like,
well, I knew that's what it was doing because I'd pull
okay,
the plug out and it would literally be like
white.
white and like
Yeah.
melted.
Oh my
So
God.
we'd go back and rejet it, just a needle, and it'd still do it. Like it just wasn't getting fuel.
That happened to
And
my brother's 99 YZ125.
and then
Weird.
but the thing was, once that did it to me a couple of times, I was like, I'm not taking this out to Joliet and
No.
have it do that to me, end up in the pond,
Right.
or
I,
something,
yeah, you don't want to jump that finish line jump and land in the pond.
right?
It's not good.
So like once you lose confidence in the bike you got, it's like I'm done with this bike. So
Yeah.
I ended up selling. I never heard any more about it. I ended up selling it to someone in the area. I was like, oh, good luck. Here you go.
Probably saw their name in the obituary the next
Right.
week.
Sold it to them. And then I actually just went with a 99. Went to the next year. I gave it another shot. And that bike I never had issues with.
Yeah, typically those Yamaha 252 strokes they're awesome. Typically,
Well, I say
they're good bikes.
it's still the same bike today,
It is. I mean, actually,
basically.
I think this year they did make some changes to the 125 and the 250. But I mean, I would ride one again, but like
They always do. Like that was always kind of the goof on Yamaha was you would every year the bikes would come out and Honda, go to aluminum frame, or everyone would make these like drastic changes. And then you would look in like motocross action, you get to the Yamaha section, it's like we shaved 2 grams off the weight of the front sprocket, or our rear hub now weighs 1 gram less. It
it's
was
like,
all
yeah,
these
there's
little
nothing.
tiny. I was like, I could just, hit the bathroom in the morning and I can I can lose that weight.
Yeah, like I'll just wear a different jersey today. No big deal.
Right.
But it's funny. It's kind of them just being, like kind of brave and saying, don't mess with perfection. It's kind of one of those things where they're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's
Right.
almost like a tease to the other brands. And hey, it worked for them. Definitely worked. I do want to hold on. I wanted to stop real quick and apologize to anyone who's watching this if it's creepy and I'm looking right at you because my job requires me to stare at the camera. So like I've been looking at the
Oh,
camera. So
okay.
everyone
I
watching
didn't know
this is
how we
probably
were
like,
supposed to do it. Like I got the camera here, but then
no, typically
I'm like looking
podcasts,
down
you
and
don't look at the camera, but I'm just so used to it with my work. So I'm sorry if we locked eyes and you hit your climax. It's okay.
I like the background. Looks
Do
like
you? Chinese restaurant?
uh, that or rub and tug, whichever.
Happy ending for you.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh gosh. All right, back on track here. So Cian Cirillo can't keep it on two wheels. Hopefully he does. We'll see. That's yet to be said, but I really want to kind of shift gears here. I like what I did there and go over to Roczen. Like
Okay.
the kid has some raw talent, but he's clearly had problems
Oh
the
yeah.
past couple of years. I think part of it's his personal life. I don't know. This is just me kind of making assumptions and guessing, but you could tell the frustration when he comes off the track when he doesn't win a heat or win a main event. He's pissed off at himself, and I'm wondering if it's kind of a mental game for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I could definitely see. I mean, he's never been right since the injury,
That's true.
I think, I don't know. He's kind of the guy, like, I wrote on my paperwork, I wrote Roczen and then I wrote done with a question mark.
Yeah,
because
that's what I have here too.
because I'm like, I just think he's kind of done. I don't. Might be maybe he'll be the feel good story, maybe make a comeback, but it seems like, you know, guys coming up, there's guys getting faster coming up. You got yeah, he just think he's getting lost in the mix, unfortunately, because he
I
was
agree.
fast.
Very, very dominant, consistent. Like he had everything going for him. And I don't know. I think I agree with you there. I don't think he's going to be able to put it all together. I
You know what
hope
I
he does.
never realized when I was doing my homework? I didn't realize he's only won one title,
Yeah.
2013,
Yeah. And I think
West Coast.
he's got a lot of seconds or in the
Yeah,
top
he was.
three.
Yeah, it was definitely. Yeah, he was consistent. A lot of seconds and thirds, but I don't know why. I just assumed when I was looking, I was like, oh, I know he's won, but I was like, wow, one title. I was
Kind of
surprised
reminds
by
you of
that.
Jeff Emig, like Emig gives him
Right.
a graph, but
Yeah, he was always second. He was the generation he came into. Just he was second bet fast.
except for Loretta's
Just
this year.
yeah,
I mean, he was hauling. He was hauling. He was like the only dude out there on a two-stroke 125. It was a 150 though. Um, Man, he was flying. I was like, wow, pretty
right,
impressed. Especially with, gosh, how old is he? Like 50 something.
right,
I mean, that's because part of the reason why I went to a four-stroke is because I'm like, I'm getting too old to muscle around a bike. Like two strokes are a lot different to ride. A four-stroke, you could literally just kind of like lug it through corners.
oh
Just
yeah,
leave the clutch out and like,
right.
So I'm like, I'm gonna be lazy, but
And the power of him now is just crazy. Like I remember years ago, same with your brother too. We used to always talk about like one of these days we're gonna buy a CR 500.
yep, he still wants one.
I was like, that's gonna be my last bike. But if you look up the specs, the 450's got more power.
It does.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's just not even like if you rode a 450 and then got on a 500, you'd probably be like,
Yeah.
now,
I,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it was my first time riding a 450 when I bought this thing, and the guy was right there. He's like, all right, like, you want to ride it? And I'm like, I like almost didn't want to in front of him. I'm like, what if I do something stupid? But I rode it and I was just like, just first gear. I'm like, dude, this thing is freaking fast. Like, and it's an oh
right.
06. It's not, like
Oh, okay, that bike's clean. I didn't know realize it's an oh
yeah, it's
06.
an oh 06, very clean. So carbureted still. So it does need to be rejetted with the
That would
weather
have
we got
that would have
right
been
now.
great if you just looped it out in front of
Oh, that would have been hilarious. They'd be like, oh, I don't want it. You can keep it.
bend the subframe, snap the fender off. You're like,
But
yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pass.
it'd be even better if I looped it out right into his truck because he had like a $65,000 Silverado. I'm just like, brrr. I'm like, oh no, dude,
And then you
keep
just
it.
get up, don't even say a word, and just get in your car and leave.
That would have been the best. But that year, it's interesting because it's the only year that Kawasaki has a 4-speed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a 4-speed. So
Okay.
the gears are really tall. Like
Right.
I was telling my brother, I'm like, dude, I could ride around like some of these indoor tracks here in first gear.
Right.
I mean, you wouldn't want to, but I could because it's so damn torquey in first. But
Well, I know, God, it's been so many years since my last 450, but I remember riding that and be like, man, these gears, you could pull them forever.
yeah,
We'd be out at like that time, like we were out at like Buffalo Rock and stuff. Like I'm riding, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like in second gear. I'm just
the whole
riding the whole
time.
track in one gear, just
Yeah,
letting it, letting it eat. And then, it was wild, how much less work you
yeah,
got to do to, you know, if that's what you're going for. Definitely the older we get, the less work you want to do on,
exactly.
because
That
there's
is my
nothing.
goal.
125 is the funnest, but
Oh
because
yeah,
there's so much clutch and slip, work in the bike, there's fun of that. But at the older, I don't want to do that anymore.
yeah. No, I agree. That's part of the reason. I mean, I also weigh compared to when the last time we went out and rode. I think I was about a buck 70. I'm 240 now.
Right.
So a little bit heavier. I figured, I probably don't want to go with the 250F or a 125 because Scott's like, oh, you should just get another 125. I'm like, no, I've had enough 125s, man.
Does he
But
still
yeah,
got a bike?
yeah, he has my old 125. He has my
Oh,
YZ.
okay.
Yeah, the one that I blew up at his house and then left it there. I
Oh,
was just like, yeah, keep it.
there you go.
Oh, good times. No, but I'm looking forward to getting down a little bit this year. We're literally 7 miles from Rocky Glen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it takes like 10 minutes to get there. So
Because let's say you got Byron, you got
yep, that's about 15
K-Trax
minutes.
closed, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. They closed about 2 years ago,
Uh, no one
unfortunately.
ever did anything with that, like just turned it
No,
into like a ride park or something.
I think it would have been a good idea. If had I known about it, I probably would have looked into maybe, buying the place. I don't know how much they would have wanted for it, but
Yeah, I don't. Huh. That's crazy. No one. I haven't been out to. Well, I haven't been out to Graf's house in several years. I know he was like right by there,
yeah. I
and
forgot, what town does he live in now?
oh shoot, I
Let's
forgot the
give the
name of
address
it.
out for everyone.
Right.
Go to his house, hang out.
You
Oh,
got
that'd
his
be hilarious.
social.
Yeah.
You got it?
Here's his social and his credit
Yeah, I
card
don't.
numbers.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the town now, but it was literally like you drove right by there, and then like you turned and went to the road that went to his house.
Oh, really?
So, oh
Wow.
yeah, he was close to it.
Because I know he's going out to MxPodtrax a lot with Max, his son.
Yeah,
And I'm going to make a trip out there because that's about an hour from me to get to
yeah,
Mendota.
down there
It's
in
not too
Mendota.
bad. It's not too bad. But I mean, looking at the track, it's not really built for a 450. That track is so small
Right,
and tight, but it's somewhere to ride.
right.
I mean, I was going to go out there last week, but I came down with shingles. So I'm like, it's like my whole side is still all freaking
Ah,
scabby and, you know, good times. But we
right.
do have one more question, and this one's probably the most important. I kind of
Oh,
changed
this
it
is
on
the
you.
one I'm excited about.
Okay, I'll leave it how I have it. So
Oh no,
this
if you could change it up, I got some facts for you. I did some homework.
okay. So you can give me some facts after this. I did include one of the same writers in this. So I'm curious because I know the whole world wants to know who would win in a hot dog eating contest, Buddy Antunez or Jeremy McGrath.
Oh, it's got to be Budman.
You think so?
Yeah.
Explain
What was that?
why would Antunez? Because I mean, like McGrath has those like cheeks. Like I feel like he could fit a lot of hot dogs in there.
Oh, that's a good point.
You
Oh,
know,
maybe
like
you're onto something.
because I was thinking about it. Like at first, I was like, all right, Buddy, he's short, he's stout, he's a little bit chunky, but he probably does eat a lot of hot dogs, or I know that he probably has some hot dog shaped items in his mouth from time to time. But McGrath, really, with those big cheeks, like
Right.
he
There
could
you go.
just he could just double fist them, you know.
Right. Oh boy. Here's a screenshot.
That'd be perfect. That's gonna be the screenshot.
Okay, so I did some homework,
Okay, yeah, enough of the
and
hot dog eating.
this is a blast from the past. I looked up since it's 2000, start of 2022. I decided to go back 20 years and look
Sweet.
at the 2002 Arena Cross.
All back when I was 17. All right, all right.
And I just put some riders that were on the starting for the opening round of the Arena Cross series. We got Josh DeMuth,
Yes,
Tommy Hoffmaster,
of course.
Denny Stevenson,
Oh my God, that name, I haven't heard that in forever.
Factory Phil Lawrence,
Oh, Factory Phil.
Rusty Holland.
Oh my God.
Here's a name that I didn't realize all the way back in 2002, Justin Brayton.
Yeah, that was probably close. That had to have been almost his rookie season.
Right. Another name
Wow.
we talked about, Justin Bucklew.
Bucklew.
Yeah, was that for 250s.
Interesting. I don't even recall him actually doing anything
But
with his career.
Jeremy
Wow.
Buell
Buell, of course.
and Jeff Willow.
Jeff Willow. Oh my gosh. That is like nostalgia
Right.
to a T right there.
Yeah, I would
Wow.
say I decided to look up some. Oh, and then one other. I decided to look up the 2002 Anaheim 1 Supercross winner. You got to guess.
Okay, so 2002, Anaheim won. I am going to go with Ricky Carmichael.
Close. I think he was trying to remember. I don't know if he was top 3 or not. David Villeman.
No way. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Wow.
down there leaning.
Yeah, take that, D Mars. Even though you said I rode like David Villeman. Look at that. He won Anaheim 1. So maybe my riding style has something going for it after all.
Right.
I don't look like Villeman. Come on. Pisses me off. So what do you got going on for the rest of the day? You gonna make a snowman? Is it snowing by you?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get enough down here to.
No.
You getting quite a bit of snow up there?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, say we're just
it's
getting
coming
to
down.
some. Oh, I haven't looked out the window. It's starting to come down a little bit.
Yeah, we
But
have like a storm warning or something like that. And I had Chelsea's bike out early this morning. Finally, I put it together yesterday, started up today, and I'm like, I can't keep the damn thing running. And I realized that I turned off the petcock. I was like, oh.
there,
It's like that. I'm like, damn, this thing does not want to run. Like,
right?
and I'm like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But yeah, it's a pretty fun bike. It's interesting because it's a manual trans with like it's got a clutch, but it's 4 up, so neutral's all the way down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think of the pattern. Okay, all
Yeah,
up.
yeah. So I mean, like some people would be like, hey, that's a benefit, but to me, it's like, what if you hit neutral going over a jump? Like, because sometimes I'll try to be on the balls of my feet, but my foot's too far forward. I could only imagine like that would suck.
All
But
right. What do you think of the technology nowadays with the bikes?
oh, how you can
With
map them on your phone
like
and
that,
stuff.
and they like I know like Yamaha literally has like Wi-Fi
I know.
and stuff like that.
I'm actually that's part of why I'm so damn excited for a new bike because I want to be able to just play around with the mapping, even though I'm not a good enough rider to where it really matter. Like, yeah, I can
Right.
feel it, going down the straightaway.
Right.
But I think it's pretty cool. But when it comes to technology, there's always issues and something. I feel like it's just one more thing to go wrong.
Right. For sure. Oh, I'm drinking body armor for some
Oh,
product placement.
there we go. Spot 10% off discount in this description below. Oh my God.
But yeah, the technology is getting crazy. Of course, the prices are getting crazy too. I feel like that. Hopefully, it doesn't hurt the sport too much.
Yeah,
Just the bike prices and
I know. I about crap my pants when I saw how much brand new one is out the door.
well, it's even like the we were talking about the YZ 250. Like
Mhm.
the bike's barely changed, but the price of it
It's about nine
is
grand.
yeah. It's like
Yeah,
they're not putting any R&D into that.
I know. But
Like I mean, I get product, everything costs more, and getting it to this country, I get it, but it's just some of the stuff is like you're pricing out a lot of kids' ability to even get into the sport.
right. Yeah, it could really hurt the sport because if I remember correctly, my KX 125, I think in 99 out the door was something like 39 or
Okay.
like 41, something like
Right.
that, because my KX 80 was 29 or 3.
Right.
And now, if you want to get a brand new KX80, you're looking at like 5 grand.
Right.
It's absurd. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
that's
It's pricing these kids out because how many
yeah,
parents can just be like, oh yeah, I'll just drop 8 grand to get you a bike to
right.
see if you like it.
Yeah, the it seems like the inflation on the bike prices is, I don't think Jobs is kept up with that.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
Yeah, it costs a lot more and people aren't making a whole lot more. So
right.
what are you going to do? I guess we got to talk to Japan and be like, hey,
Right. Right.
Kawasaki, lower your price. Uh, well, we'll have to do this again. I mean, it was fun. We'll have to maybe we'll do like another like a wrap up of the season opener and see if any of our predictions were correct.
Yes, I will. I say I'll do some more history lessons.
Dude, I would love that. Keep that going. That's going to be a good segment. History with Love Train.
Right.
Cool.
But yeah, say definitely say first race is next Saturday. So
Next Saturday. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed this.
you got other guests lined up yet?
I do, but I don't have any dates. I don't want to share too many of them, but you could go on my Facebook page. There's a lot of individuals that used to race. Some of them still do that are willing to.
Yeah, I remember seeing on Facebook. I didn't know if everyone had computer and had way to do this or not.
If not, I'll just get them on their phone. Like you
Oh
can
yeah,
make
I
it,
mean, you
you
do
can
it
make it
that way.
work. It doesn't have to be
Right.
anything too good, but yeah, we'll definitely get another one in here soon, and we'll have you as a returning guest because I think it was fun. Definitely
Right.
fun. All
For
right,
sure.
folks. Well, if you like this stuff, leave a comment. Hopefully I put this on YouTube so you can leave a comment. If not, well, then you're not going to, but comment Moto Balls below because I don't know why. Anyhow,
Sounds good.
all right, we'll see you next time.
Later.
Peace.